morning, guys. Welcome to James He Rides. I'm John. Today we're going to talk about the 5 things I hate about my 2016 Chevy Silverado. Alright guys, before we even get started with this video, I want to make one thing very clear. On this 5 things I hate about my Chevy Silverado, it does not mean I actually hate the Silverado. It just means that no matter how good of a vehicle you have, there's always going to probably be at least 5 things you didn't like about it. But overall, I gotta say that my opinion on the Silverado is definitely a thumbs up. Let's start with item number 1. Alright, so you guys already know that I'm into off-roading and all this kind of stuff, and yes, I know this is not an off-roading type of vehicle, but it is a pickup truck, and in my opinion, even though it is a pickup truck and not supposed to be a hardcore off-roader, I think you should definitely have a lot more clearance than what it comes with. I mean, in all honesty, this is just like my hand is pretty much spread out. That's like the height that I have right here that I'm limited by. So I definitely wish a truck like this would give you a little bit more clearance. Like I said, it is still a pickup truck. I live in New York, so sometimes you might get a foot and a half of snow. You never know. And the last thing you want is to be ripping off like the little plastic trim on the front. All right, guys, so item number 2 is going to be the exhaust. The exhaust on this thing, it is a V8. And in my opinion, since it is a V8, I kind of wish Chevy would have given it a slightly aggressive exhaust. And I know it's not going to sound like a Hellcat, but still, it should have at least more of an aggressive tone than when it has already. I mean, this thing, you can't hear it at all. It's completely quiet. Now, some people probably enjoy a quiet exhaust, and I'm sure that's probably why they do it. Guys who want the lighter exhaust can always get it modified, but let's go ahead and rev it up so you can hear what it sounds like stock. Alright guys, so you guys just heard the exhaust system on this Silverado. In all honesty, like I said, this thing is ridiculously quiet considering it has a V8. I'm sure it has a huge muffler, and like I said before, yes, you can modify the exhaust, but you know, for the people who are considering a vehicle like this, you know, I feel like these videos can probably help you in your purchase, so you just have like an idea of what to expect when you get into one of these vehicles. I'm sure if you cut off that muffler, maybe throw a Flowmaster on there, it would sound ridiculous. But stock, I have to give it a thumbs down for that exhaust note. All right, so the third thing is the length of the vehicle. For some people, the length of the vehicle is going to be perfect because maybe you actually have the need for a big cargo area like this on the back. Me personally, when I had my Ford Raptor, I had the one, I think it was called the Super Cab, which is like the door and a half over here and the shorter bed. I mean, I would use the pickup area of the truck, but not as often as some other people. I mean, depends, I guess, on what you do for a living. It's nice to have it in case you need to buy furniture or something like that for your house or something like that. But personally, you guys know I own a Dodge Challenger Hellcat, and everybody compares that thing to a boat. That thing is ridiculously wide and long.
That's what she said.
So coming from that vehicle, I still feel like when I'm driving around in this pickup truck, that this thing is definitely pretty long, and you know, you can't forget about the length of the vehicle when you're driving around, so you don't have any kind of mistakes and that kind of thing. All right, so for this next part, guys, we're actually gonna have to get into this pickup truck. We're gonna take it for a drive, and I'm gonna give you the last 2 things I hate about this truck. Like I said, I know this is a hate video, but I gotta be honest with you guys, it is a very comfortable truck on the inside, and I by no means actually hate this vehicle. Just little things that you wish would have been better. All right, guys, so item number 4 that I hate about this vehicle is the actual gas mileage. The average gas mileage that I'm getting is 11.8 miles to the gallon. All right, guys, so the gas mileage that I'm getting on here is anywhere between 11.7, 11.8. It fluctuates a little bit. Now, I think the gas mileage could have definitely been a lot better. I mean, let's just compare this for a second to my Jeep Wrangler Rubicon that's sitting on 37-inch mud tires. My Rubicon has huge mud tires, okay? And my Rubicon is probably getting right around the same gas mileage, if not maybe even slightly better than this pickup truck. Now, granted, this will beat the gas mileage on the highway compared to my Rubicon, but driving around town, you know, if you're just using it to drive around town, the gas mileage is probably comparable to my Jeep. Item number 5 I'm going to talk about is suspension. Now, suspension is something that I hate and I love about this truck. So let me explain really quickly. The reason why I say I hate it is because when you're driving around town, it has a very like soft suspension. So whenever you hit a big pothole or a speed bump at a higher speed than you really should, maybe you didn't see the speed bump coming or something like that, I don't know. Well, what actually happens when you hit that speed bump or pothole, you actually get a feeling like you're almost like losing control of the vehicle. But at the same time, it's almost a good thing, because when you're driving around town and you're hitting all those little smaller bumps, like normal bumps that you see on the highway, imperfections on the road, it honestly feels like you're riding on a cloud. It is extremely comfortable, and I could totally see myself even like just kind of like falling asleep in this vehicle when you're on the long trip, just from how comfortable the ride is. The seats and the leather, very, very comfortable. I mean, you just see how wide these seats are, you know. It's a very comfortable truck, and if you're gonna make a long trip, like I can totally see myself like driving from like New York to Florida in this thing, no problem, extremely comfortable. All right, guys, so if you're looking for a truck like a Chevy Silverado, best thing I could recommend to you guys is go to your local dealership, take one for a test drive, and make your own decision on the vehicle. Now, my list of things I love about this truck is way, way longer than the things I hate about it. I mean, just like the front end of the truck, I think looks pretty nice. And now, if I was gonna keep this truck long term, I would probably just black out the little bit of chrome that it has, maybe do the tints for sure, black out the taillights, maybe do like maybe lift it up a little bit, something like that. But at the end of the day, I probably wouldn't go too crazy with the modifications on something like that, because then it kind of defeats the purpose of a vehicle like this. If I were to lift it and put huge tires, well, my gas mileage is going to suffer even more. And if I were to keep a vehicle like this long term, I would basically just be using it to tow my Hellcat, maybe do those long road trips, that kind of thing, kind of cruise around and be really, really comfortable. All right, guys, if you enjoyed today's video, make sure you go ahead and give this video a thumbs up. If it's your first time on the channel, hit the subscribe button, click the little bell icon so you can sign up for notifications, and I'll catch you guys on the next one.